Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Diabetes is a very big health problem in the world today. Millions of people in many countries have diabetes, but if we look back in history, it was not always like this. A long time ago, diabetes was a rare illness. Doctors did not often see patients with this disease. It was unusual. Let's go back to the year 1893. A young doctor, Elliot Jocelyn, was working in a hospital. He met a young woman named Mary Higgins. Mary was not feeling well. She was very thirsty all the time and had to wake up many times during the night to go to the toilet. Doctor Jocelyn learned that Mary had a serious case of diabetes. This made him very interested in understanding diabetes. Dr. Jocelyn began to study old records from the hospital. These records were handwritten and very old, going back many years. He and another doctor looked through hundreds of these books with notes about patients. They wanted to find out how common diabetes was a long time ago. They made a surprising discovery. Diabetes was not common at all. It was a very rare disease. However, as time passed, this changed. More and more people started to get diabetes. Dr. Jocelyn began to use the word epidemic to describe how quickly diabetes was spreading. Now in our time, diabetes is a common disease. Millions of people are affected by it. Doctors and health experts are very worried about this situation. It is important to ask, why has this happened? Why was diabetes so rare in the past, and why is it so common now? What has changed in our lives? One possible reason is sugar. Today we eat a lot of sugar. Sugar is added to many of the foods and drinks we consume. We eat much more sugar now than people did in the past. Could this increased sugar intake be connected to the rise in diabetes? This book will explore this question. It will present the case against sugar. It will look at the idea that sugar is a main cause of diabetes and other serious health problems. It will explain why some experts believe sugar is not just empty calories, but could be actively harmful to our health. We will investigate if sugar is truly a significant problem for our bodies and our health. 2. Is sugar like a drug? Sugar is very enjoyable. When we taste sugar, it gives us a lot of pleasure. For some people, this pleasure is very strong, like a drug. Think about how much children love sweets. They often want sugar all the time. Is this just because it tastes good, or is there something more? Some people feel they need sugar, just like people who are addicted to drugs. They crave sugar and find it hard to stop eating sweet things. In history, sugar was often linked with other things that people liked a lot, like tea, coffee, and tobacco. These things, like sugar, made people feel good or gave them energy. Think about Coca-Cola. It started with sugar and caffeine and even a drug from coca leaves. Sugar made these drinks taste better and more enjoyable. Children especially want sugar. From a very young age, babies like sweet tastes. When babies try sugar for the first time, they often seem amazed by the taste. They want more and more. This strong desire for sugar starts very early in life. Why do we want sugar so much? When we eat sugar, it affects our brain. Sugar makes our brain release a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine makes us feel happy and good. Drugs like nicotine and cocaine also make the brain release dopamine. This is why some people think sugar can be like a drug. It gives us a powerful feeling of pleasure that we want to experience again and again. So, is sugar like a drug? It might not be exactly the same, but for many people, sugar has some things in common with drugs. It gives us intense pleasure, we can crave it, and it affects our brain in similar ways to some drugs. This chapter will look more at why sugar has this power over us. 3. Sugar's long journey. Sugar cane started in New Guinea a long time ago, about 10,000 years. People there liked to chew sugar cane because it was sweet and gave them energy. From New Guinea, sugar cane went to other places like India and China. At first, people just chewed sugar cane to get the sweet juice. Later, people found ways to get more juice. They squeezed or crushed the sugar cane. This juice was sweet, but it was not like the sugar we know today. Refining sugar started in India. People in India learned how to make sugar crystals from the juice. They heated and cooled the juice many times. This made brown or white sugar. This sugar was easier to keep and carry. From India, the idea of refining sugar went to other countries. Sugar came to Europe much later. People in Europe first used sugar as a medicine. They also used it as a spice to make food taste better. Sugar was also used to keep food fresh for longer. Only rich people could buy sugar because it was very expensive. To grow sugar cane, people needed warm places. They also needed many workers. In places around the Mediterranean Sea and on islands in the Atlantic Ocean, people started growing sugar cane. To get enough workers, they used slaves. Slavery became linked to sugar production. Many people were forced to work very hard to grow and make sugar. 4. Sugar everywhere. Sugar traveled to the New World with Christopher Columbus. On his second trip, he took sugar cane plants. They grew very well in America. Soon, people started making sugar plantations there. These plantations needed many workers. People from Africa were taken as slaves to work on these plantations. This was a very sad time. Sugar and slavery became strongly connected in the Americas. Sugar became very important for trade around the world. It was like oil is today. Many countries wanted sugar. Wars were even fought over sugar islands and sugar trade. In Europe, something new happened. People found a way to make sugar from beet plants. This was important because beet sugar could be grown in Europe, not just in hot places like sugar cane. Beet sugar made sugar cheaper and more available to everyone. Then came the Industrial Revolution. New machines and factories made sugar production much bigger. Sugar became very cheap. Because sugar was cheap and easy to get, new kinds of sugary foods appeared. Candy became popular. Chocolate bars were invented. Ice cream became a treat for everyone, not just rich people. Soft drinks were also created, full of sugar and flavor. But sugar was not just in sweets. It started to be used in many other foods too. Bread often had sugar added to help it rise and taste better. Processed foods like canned soups and sauces also began to contain sugar. Sometimes this sugar was hidden and people did not know it was there. Sugar also played a surprising role in cigarettes. Sugar made cigarette smoke less harsh and easier to inhale deeply into the lungs. This made cigarettes more addictive and more harmful. Sugar helped make cigarettes a product that people wanted to use more and more. So sugar became everywhere. It was no longer just a rare spice or a medicine. It was in many of the foods people ate every day, sometimes in ways they did not even realize. 5. Doctors start to worry. In the early days, when people started to get sick more often, doctors began to see a connection. They noticed that some diseases like diabetes were becoming more common. Diabetes is a disease where the body has trouble with sugar in the blood. At first, scientists who studied food and health thought mostly about calories. Calories are like energy from food. They thought people got sick because they ate too many calories or not enough of other things like vitamins. But some doctors started to worry about sugar itself. One of these doctors was named Elliot Jocelyn. Dr. Jocelyn was a diabetes doctor. He saw that more and more people were getting diabetes. He looked at old records from hospitals. He found that diabetes was not common a long time ago, but now it was becoming more common. This made doctors like Dr. Jocelyn think. Dr. Jocelyn and other doctors saw that people who ate a lot of sugar seemed to get diabetes more often. But many experts at that time did not think sugar was the problem. They thought all carbohydrates were the same. Carbohydrates are things like sugar, bread, and potatoes. Experts thought that if you ate too many carbohydrates of any kind, it could be bad. They did not think sugar was special. Some experts started to say that fat was the real problem. They thought people got fat and sick because they ate too much fat. Other experts said it was not about fat or sugar, but just about eating too much food in general. They said people were eating too many calories and not moving enough. So, in the early days, many doctors worried about diabetes getting more common. Some thought sugar might be a problem, but many experts did not agree. They looked at fat or just eating too much of any food as the cause of these new diseases. 6. Is it just about calories? Many people think weight gain is simple. They say it is just about calories in, calories out. This idea is that if you eat more calories than you use, you will get fat. If you use more calories than you eat, you will lose weight. This is called energy balance. For a long time, this energy balance idea was very popular. It seemed to make sense. If you eat too much food, you get fat. If you eat less, you get thin. This idea became the main way people thought about weight and health. But this simple idea does not explain everything. For example, why do people store fat in different places? Why do hormones affect our weight? The calorie is a calorie idea does not easily answer these questions. Some scientists started to say obesity is not just about calories. They said it is more about hormones. Hormones are like messengers in our bodies. They control many things, including how we store fat. This idea says that obesity is a problem with our hormones, not just eating too much. The idea that a calorie is a calorie was helpful for the sugar industry. If all calories are the same, then sugar calories are no worse than any other calories. This made it harder to blame sugar for weight problems. Scientists also found out about insulin. Insulin is a hormone that helps store fat. When we eat, especially sugar and carbohydrates, our bodies make insulin. Insulin tells our bodies to store energy as fat. This discovery showed that calories are not just calories. What we eat can change our hormones, and hormones can change how our bodies store fat. So, is it just about calories? Maybe not. It might be more complex than that. 7. The sugar companies fight. The sugar industry saw that people started to worry about sugar. Some doctors said sugar was bad for health. Sugar companies did not like this. They wanted to protect their image, so they started to fight back. First, sugar companies made groups to speak for them. These groups were called sugar associations. They wanted to tell people that sugar was good and healthy. In the early days, sugar companies advertised sugar as healthy. They said sugar gave you energy. They did ads to make people think sugar was good for children. Then World War II came. During the war, sugar was limited. People were told sugar was empty calories. This means sugar had energy but not vitamins or minerals. Sugar companies worried that after the war, people would think sugar was bad. So the sugar industry started to fund research. They gave money to scientists to study sugar. They wanted research that showed sugar was okay. They also used public relations. They tried to change what people thought about sugar. One worry was that sugar caused tooth problems. Sugar companies fought against this idea. They said it was not just sugar but all foods that could cause tooth problems. They advertised brushing teeth as a way to prevent tooth problems, not cutting down on sugar. Another fight was against artificial sweeteners. When sweeteners like saccharin and cyclamates came out, they were popular for people wanting to lose weight. Sugar companies did not like this. They tried to show that these artificial sweeteners were bad or dangerous. They wanted people to use real sugar, not artificial ones. Sugar companies also tried to talk to the government and groups like the FDA. They wanted to influence what these groups said about sugar. They wanted to make sure rules were good for the sugar business. They tried to change public opinion to be in favor of sugar. The sugar companies' fight was to keep selling sugar. They did not want people to think sugar was bad for their health. They used different ways to protect their business and image. 8. Sugar today, what we know. Today we know more about sugar and health. Doctors talk about insulin resistance. This is when your body does not use insulin well. Insulin is important to control sugar in your blood. When you are insulin resistant, sugar levels can get too high. This can lead to problems. Doctors also talk about metabolic syndrome. This is a group of problems that often happen together. These problems are obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Insulin resistance is linked to metabolic syndrome. One example is the Pima Indians. Years ago, they did not have much diabetes. But when they started eating more Western food, diabetes became very common very quickly. This shows how diet changes can have a big effect. We also know that a mother's health during pregnancy is important for her baby. If a mother has health problems, it can increase the baby's risk of problems later in life. This is called metabolic programming. What a mother eats and her health can affect her child's risk of obesity and diabetes. Some scientists think sugar might also be linked to other Western diseases. These are diseases that are common in countries with Western lifestyles. Examples are gout, high blood pressure, some cancers, and Alzheimer's disease. It is hard to prove that sugar is the main cause of these diseases. Many things affect our health. It is also hard to say exactly how much sugar is too much. People are different. What is too much for one person might be okay for another. but we know that many people today eat a lot of sugar. This comes from sugary drinks and processed foods. It is important to think about how much sugar we eat. We can make our own choices about sugar. What changes could you make to eat less sugar today?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.